But I think this man needs to be up there because he can make a difference if we let him.
All right, good afternoon. I heard there was a gathering of Democrats in Utah County, and so I thought I better make my way down here. Turns out you're all Republicans, I guess. Yeah. There we go, Commissioner. I'm joking. You know, I don't know if most of you have heard my story. I'm not going to tell it all to you, but I will tell you how I became a Republican. Because I am a conservative miracle. I started in politics in Washington, D.C. during an internship with guess who? Bill Clinton. That's right, Bill Clinton. Not only that, but I was an environmental studies anthropology major at the University of Utah. Yeah, oh my goodness, the gasps, the astonishment. I had to be interviewed just to move into Utah County because of those things. I passed, I'm here now, but I'll tell you, when I came back from Washington, D.C., I was so disappointed in that administration and in the things that were happening that I immediately, 15 years ago, registered as a Republican and got active within my party. In fact, my wife and I went to our caucus meeting, and guess how many people were there? We were the hosts. There were two, my wife and I. We were the only ones there. We did everything. We were county delegates, state delegates, and we've been active ever since. Now, what got me into politics is the same thing which inspired me to run for Congress, and that's that our country is in trouble. You've probably already heard how in debt we are, right? 14 trillion. $14 trillion. Do you know what the debt was before President Obama took office? About 7. In 2 years, they have added to our debt the sum total of everything before he took office. Now, we've got a big obligation. If you live in the 2nd District, we are currently represented by someone who was the key vote last week in adjourning Congress. Do you realize what that means? Do you know what happened? We punted the Bush tax cuts, right? Are you familiar with what's going on with the Bush tax cuts? Yeah. They didn't get extended. And they didn't get extended because my opponent was literally the one vote that adjourned Congress before they were extended. Now what that means is the Bush tax cuts are now being pushed off to a lame duck Congress and Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. Are there any Nancy Pelosi fans here? She's got some pretty good name ID in Utah. Unfortunately for her, it's not good. But she and a lame duck Congress are now in charge of whether or not the largest tax hike in American history takes place on January 1, 2011. That was my opponent. We've let him sit in this seat for too long. We need to send a real fiscal conservative back to Washington, D.C. Imagine a delegation from Utah made up of Congressman Chaffetz, Senator Mike Lee, and a Morgan Philpot. We will go... I think if Chris Matthews were here, he'd be getting tingles up his leg. We will go back and we will fight for true fiscal conservatism. We will fight for the Constitution. We will return sanity. I have a question for you. If Utah is not ready to rise up and elect a full delegation of constitutional conservatives, name for me one state in the union that will do it. And if we fail to do it this year, tell me another year where we will have such a great opportunity. I would propose to you that the vote that you have before you is perhaps the most important vote you've made in your life. It will determine the future of our country. It will determine whether or not Nancy Pelosi becomes Speaker of the House and whether or not we literally, overnight, stop an agenda of out-of-control spending literally in a day. November 2nd is the second American Revolution, and this time it is a peaceful revolution. But you've got to get out and vote, and you've got to get your friends and your family members out to vote, because in November, 86% of Washington, D.C. is up for re-election. We could literally take our nation back in a day. I need your help. I need your support. I need you to work harder. I know you've worked hard already, but we need to run this through to the end. And if we win, we stand to be a key in turning around the destiny of America and saving, literally saving our children's future. Thanks for being here, and thanks for allowing me a few minutes.